Good morning, David.
Good morning, Karat.
Tell me, do the values or belief systems of an individual affect their risk attitude?
Yes, they do. It's very important for us to be aware of these things, both for ourselves as individuals and being aware of the values and beliefs of other people, because values and beliefs influence attitudes. The reason for that is that values are very deep-seated within us as individuals, and they come to us initially from our parents. We're not born with values. We're born as a blank sheet, a blank page, but our parents write their values into us intuitively, just through the way that they behave in front of us and bring us up. And so the values of our parents and our wider family, and then of our society and our community, plant values within us, which we adopt as our own. Values then form the basis for our beliefs. Beliefs are chosen. We come to our beliefs later in life, again, mostly influenced by our parents and family and community. And then maybe later on in life we would adjust our belief systems as we mature and we become exposed to other influences in the world. But values are very deep-seated and change very, very slowly. Belief systems are also quite deep, and they also change slowly. And then they form the basis for our choices when we're faced with risky situations, so our attitude to risk. And it's important that we recognize that some of these value systems have a big influence on the different ways that we perceive risk. So, for example, for some people, the value of the individual is more important than the value of the community. And so we would always be concerned about anything that could affect me or other individuals more than how it would affect our team or our group or our organization. If that's a value, the individual is primary, then it affects the way that we look at the impact of risk on people. Or if we view it the other way, the group is more important than the individual, and that's a value, then it again will affect the way that we assess the impact of risks and our perception of the value of the size of that impact. If we have a value that honesty is more important than reputation, so it's not that I must protect my reputation at all costs. It's really important that I always tell the truth, even if that might damage my reputation, that truth is the key value, then that will really affect our view of uncertainty and how we communicate uncertainty. If I find a risk which it would be uncomfortable for you to hear, but I know that it's a risk that you need to hear, and truth is my key value, then I will tell you, even if it damages, you don't respect me for it or you're angry with me. Yeah. Whereas if the value is that your reputation, your honor is the most important thing you have, then you will protect that at the expense of honesty and truth. So these things are really important. And then there are other values that, or belief systems that follow from our values, which have really important influences on the way we view risk, particularly our view of the future. So in some belief systems, the future is fixed. And all we can do as we live our lives is to discover the future. We walk into it and there it is. For some people, the future is set by God. And so all we can do is discover the will of God or hope to find the will of God and to comply with it or to cooperate with it. For other people, maybe they believe there is no God or that God isn't interested in our world and we have to make our own way and we make our own future. Or maybe there's some combination between these different views. Your view of the future, of course, will affect the way that you approach risk. If you think the future is fixed or it's controlled by God, then what can you do to avoid threats or to capture opportunities? That what will be, will be. Que sera, sera, they say in Spanish, inshallah, or God wills. These are things where we're saying it's somebody else's responsibility to manage the risk of the future. Or if you don't have that within your belief system, then you must take your own responsibility. And maybe the truth is somewhere between the two, and maybe in some belief systems, you can take responsibility for what you can, and then you trust God for the rest. And where you draw the line is a question of your level of maturity and faith. So these things, they're quite personal. They're deep-seated belief systems based on our personal values, but they do influence the way that we approach risk and try to manage risk. Now, why this is important for risk management, we're talking in this block of questions about the people aspects and why people are important in risk management. We all have deep-seated values. You have them and I have them. And they're usually things that we're not conscious of, but they influence our belief systems, and out of our belief systems we make the choices of our attitudes. I need to know what my own belief systems and underlying values are if I'm going to adjust my attitudes, understand myself and why I respond to risk in a particular way. And then if I'm going to understand you or members of my team or my customers or my management team, to understand why you respond to risk in the way that you do, so that we can be more mature and intelligent about the choices that we make, recognizing that we come to this with a preference, and our preference may not always be the best choice.
Very interesting, and I do believe the points that you've touched are beyond risk management, but they have risk management embedded in them.
Absolutely.
Thank you
yes.
for the wisdom, David.
It's
Thank
a
you.
pleasure. Thank you.